But even on the more practical approach in terms of ourselves and our lives, day-to-day basis, Rabbi Nachman says that who is the enemy? The enemy is our Yetzer Hara. That every time we go out in the milchama, we go out and we're going against our own self, our own Yetzer Hara, who's trying to take us and attract us into doing things we're not supposed to do. And so when we go back and we look at our lives, and so we go down and we see the woman of beautiful appearance, and then we go all the way down and we see this son, this wayward son. Who's this wayward son? This wayward son has now become our actions, our habits, something that we've given birth to that we don't like. We don't know how we got here. Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Live with the Times. This is Maynard Breslow. So grateful to be here. Been a long time. And I'm going to share with you kind of where I've been, but I'll save it for the end if you're interested in hearing. Maybe I'll share a little bit at the end. But just get right into it for those of you who came for the Torah. So this week's parsha is Ki Tate Se. One thing I will say is I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing all 7 Aliyahs. I think this is one of the issues of why I wasn't able to complete most weeks. This became a lot to try and do 7 Aliyahs. So we're going to do 1 Aliyah, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 1. And we're going to start off with 1, and we'll go from there. So as much as I can get in, as much as I can do or not do, it's totally cool. But I would like to keep up at least with 1 a week. And so today we're going to go over the first Aliyah of Ki Tate Se. Ki Tate Se, when you go out, when you go to war. And in this Aliyah, there is a very, very, very interesting story, very famous story as well, about who the wayward son. And no, we're not talking about the song from Kansas, Carry On My Wayward Son. No, we are talking about this story in the Torah about this the son who's become a glutton and a drunkard. He's lost complete control. That his parents have had to go to the elders, to the Sanhedrin, to the Beit Din, and they're going and they're bringing this son and saying, "Look at this son. Look at what this piece of work that Hashem gave me. What are we going to do with this guy? We're going to stone this guy. Look at him. There's no hope for this guy." All right, it says, "V'amru el ziknei yiro, b'neinu ze soreh u'moreh, einenu shomea b'koleinu, zolel v'soveh." Right, so they go to the elders of the town. They say, "This son is disloyal and defiant. He doesn't heed us. He doesn't listen to us, listen to our voice. He's a glutton and a drunkard." That's it. We're going to stone him. And what happens? So then, "Ugamuhu kol anshei yiroeh be'avanim, v'meit uve'ata hara b'kabecha, v'kol Yisrael yishmu v'yiruahu." Wow. So we're going to see that the Anshe, the elders, the council is going to come and they're going to stone him. Thus, we will get evil away from our midst, and all Israel will hear and be afraid. Pretty interesting. Put some good yira in there. What's the problem here? Well, there's a few problems here with this story. And the first being, I guess, right, people look and they say, "Oh my gosh, who is this God?" We look at modern people through modern eyes and look and say, "Who is this God? What savagery? What is this? What kind of God is this? No. We need a new God. We need to replace this God. This God is a little bit too much." We talk about the Old Testament, fire and brimstone God, you know? The Torah is eternal, as we know. And also, guess what? The Torah is right. The only problem is what? That this actually never happened in reality. This whole thing of bringing the kid and the kids come and they stone the kids, it actually never happened. First and foremost, for it to be able to happen, it would be between a 6-month period between he's 12 and a half and 13 years old. We're here for following this. There's a multiple number of situations that would have to occur as well, coinciding situations have to occur for this kid to have been warned and stealing things and all kinds of things that never actually happen in reality. There's other things in the Torah that never actually happen in reality, and this is one of them. And so what is he even here for? Well, what did, first and foremost, parents, they're coming and they're bringing their kid, and we always want to blame something else. Well, who's the parents? You're the parents. How do we get here? Well, the Torah's going to tell us, right? Because before, the story before this Wayward Son, it talks about that there will be 2 children. That when a person has 2 wives, he has one wife that he loves. Oh, she's so amazing. And one wife that he hates. That he has to, the firstborn has to be treated as the firstborn, regardless of whether it comes from the son, the daughter, the wife that he hates. You're not allowed to take her away from this. Okay, I mean, once again, what does it have to do with us? We don't have, this is once again continuing the pattern of, well, it seems pretty barbaric, and what is this? Looking in through our own eyes, and what does this even mean to us? All right, so let's keep moving back. Before there is the story of the 2 wives, the one that he's loved and one that he doesn't love, there's a story here that talks about what happens when a person goes to war. Ki Tate Se. Ki Teitzei la milchama alevecha untanoi Hashem alakecha beyadcha besavisa sivyoi. So when you go out to war against your enemy, and Hashem your God will deliver them into your hands, and you take some of them for captive. You're going to see a woman, va'ita ve'arita, v'sivya eshes yafat Torah, v'chashachta va v'lakachta lecha leisha. You're going to go and you see a beautiful woman, you're going to desire, you're going to want to take her as your wife. So what we're saying here is actually that the person who become the hated wife, right? And then it goes into how you take her, and you want to go, and she has to go and trim her hair and her nails, and she has to spend time away from her father and her mother, and you can't sell her if you don't want her afterwards, right? And the sages say that this is really, you see that this how great Israel is, because we and other people in war, they go and take what they want. And we know the horrible atrocities that happen during wars, specifically to women. Don't even be mentioned. And so this, the sages say, is like, wow, look, instead of falling into this, right, we say, okay, you're going to go, and instead of going there and taking the woman for you and discarding her, or worse, right, we're going to find a way for you to have her. But first you got to wait. You got to make her not be beautiful appearance, and you got to wait for your excitement, so to speak, to be quelled, to calm down. And the sages say this is what we should be doing with the Yetzer Hara. Right? That when the Yetzer Hara comes, that we should say, okay, fine, you can, but you got to wait a little bit. When you make the Yetzer Hara wait, the passion subdues, and then it's not so great. Right? Yeah, we can have a cheeseburger tomorrow. It's all right. We'll have a cheeseburger tomorrow. And actually, in recovery, this is what not the sages, this is what they say in recovery, right? The person who's an addict, who doesn't want it, who's an alcoholic, doesn't say, I'm never drinking again. So I'm just not going to drink today. Forget about tomorrow. Forget about next year. I'm not going to drink today. Because we say that, and then at some point, there's going to be a day where you really want to drink. And the passion's going to be burning up. You say, I can't take it anymore. I really need to escape this world. I can't take it. I need to escape. I'm going to have a drink. At that point, you can't, the word tomorrow, the word forever, I'm never drinking again, doesn't exist. You can't do this. Say, fine, today. And do everything you can to not drink today. And this follows the same thing with the passions. Right? But even deeper, right, Rabbi Nachman says, as I said, this is so savage. I can't believe this. People who don't even understand what goes on in war. This happens, unfortunately, right? But even on the more practical approach in terms of ourselves and our lives, day-to-day basis, Rabbi Nachman says that who is the enemy? The enemy is our Yetzer Hara. That every time we go out, la milchama, We go out and we're going against our own self, our own Yetzer Hara, who is trying to take us and attract us into doing things we're not supposed to do. And so when we go back and we look at our lives, and so we go down and we see the woman of beautiful appearance, and then we go all the way down and we see this son, this wayward son. Who is this wayward son? This wayward son has now become our actions, our habits, something that we've given birth to that we don't like. We don't know how we got here, right? Something that we don't even realize for a long time that it's not so good until it's become so bad that we're like, this guy is a drunken glutton, meaning our actions has run rampant and is now overtaking many aspects of our life. And it's leaving a wake of destruction. And we say, how the heck did I get here? What can I do? The first thing is to stone it, right? To bring it before the elders, meaning get some advice, right? Go to therapy. I'm not saying, right, sometimes whatever, maybe some people can listen to this and say, oh, that means I got to get a divorce. I got to do this. No, don't do anything drastic. Go get some second opinions. Go to the elders. Go get therapy. Go to recovery. Go to your 12 steps. Go do something else, right? Get out of your denial. Get out of your head. Our best thinking God is here. We thought it was a good idea at the time, right? And stop the action, right? Turn from evil and do good, as it says in Tehillim. And then what? We have to go look for the source. The problem is not the habit. The problem actually isn't that action. And yeah, of course, you got to stop the action. But if a person stops the action, it's like whack-a-mole, right? So we see this a lot with alcoholics. They stop drinking alcohol, and then all of a sudden they become drug addicts. Or they stop drinking alcohol and don't drink drugs. And then all of a sudden they start cheating on their wives, or looking at things they're not supposed to be looking at, or going and spending money to fulfill their passions with other women. All kinds of things go on. Or they spend money on Amazon and they put themselves in huge debt. Or they spend their whole day on Instagram or on YouTube scrolling and wasting their time. These are all the same things. These are all the same wayward sons. Different forms of wayward sons. So you put down the wayward son, but then it comes up again. Why? Because we didn't get to the first point. What was the first point? What happens? First you saw it. You saw it. This beautiful woman, Yefat Torah, this beautiful form. Yefat Torah. It appears to be good. It appears to be beautiful. It's not really beautiful. You don't know yet. You don't know nothing about this woman. You don't know anything about this habit. You don't know anything about this action. You don't know anything about this business. You don't know anything about this house. You don't know anything about anything, but you look at the car and you say, man, I really want that car. You look at the house and you say, man, I really want that house. You don't know that inside it's falling apart and crumbling. You don't know that the car is going to take, whatever, so much, the parts, if it breaks down, and this much money and that much stuff, and it's clunker to begin with. People who know cars would never buy this car, but it looks nice on the outside. You don't know that. It looks nice. And what happens then? You desire it. V'chashakta. Right? Just like Paro desired Avraham Avinu's wife, desired Yitzchak Avinu's wife. This is the same kind of desire, to take it as a wife. And this is what we do a lot of times. So we can go and we can look at the wayward son. We can look at our actions that have gone haywire, and we can stop them. And then guess what? They come up again. Why? Because we still have that evil desire. We still went or we looked the wrong way. We opened our eyes and looked at it in a negative way, or in a lusting way, in a coveting way, and we desired something. We put our yearning. A person's yearning, a Jew's yearning, is so powerful that when they put their mind to anything and they want something, guess what? It's going to happen. And in fact, when we put our desires into these negative things, it takes away from the real desires that we should be having. Holy desires. And it could be the same thing. A person could have a lust for money, or a person can have the desire to have money and to give charity and to provide for their family and have a lot of it. That's fine. When a person lusts for money for the sake of money, for the sake of security, this is a negative desire. And so the person then is going and they get themselves into all kinds of different businesses that aren't good for them, Why? Because the initial desire was wrong, right? The person can go and get into all kinds of different addictions. Why? Because the person wanted to escape. The main thing was the desire to escape from the world, to escape from reality, to escape from responsibilities. The desire could be to receive, right? A man wants to receive, and he has a desire, so he's finding himself in all these situations. He can't find himself money, doesn't know what's going on because he wants to be the receiver, not the giver, right? So no matter what he's doing in business, he's finding himself to be unsuccessful because he has that desire to receive. This is his desire, and so in this way, this is what the Torah is trying to tell us: is that only thing that we can really do here is we can go back to the beginning. When we seeing that we are in a situation that we don't like, here we are in Elul, and we see what's going on. First of all, we can say, thank you, Hashem. I'm here in this place. It's all from you. It's all for the good. Because really, the place comes from such a deep place. We think that this wayward son is the problem. Why won't my kid just go to school? Why won't this kid just go to school? What's wrong with this kid? There's something wrong. There's something wrong with this kid. Well, who's raising him? And where did this come from? And we look back and we say, I have to make shuvah. And the same thing with the things around in our life. We look here in Elul and we're doing a cheshbon of the year, and we're doing a cheshbon of our actions, hopefully, and doing a cheshbon of, at least of Hashem, right? Everybody wants to do a cheshbon of Hashem. Hashem, you didn't give me all these things that I talked about last Rosh Hashanah. Why not? Hashem's going to say, good question. What did I ask you to do that you didn't do? And it's not just about the actions, right? It's about getting deeper and pulling deeper on that onion and getting to the core of everything. And this is what Rabbi Nachman says. It says that when a person wants to do shuvah, he's carrying a sheaf of wheat, right? He's carrying all this wheat, this whole big bushel of wheat. And he thinks, oh my gosh, look at all these horrible sins that I've gone to. But guess what? All you got to do is get to the first one. Of course, you got to get rid of all of them. But it all started with that one. So when you get to the core of what it is that was bringing us here in the first place, we don't have to make shuvah on why a person is eating non-kosher food. A person has to get to the kosher, you can make shuvah on 1,000,001 cheeseburgers, right? But why do I even want to have a cheeseburger in the first place, right? Or a person wants to lose weight. What is it? What is really holding me back here? I have a mental issue. It's not a weight issue. It's a mental issue. It's an emotional issue. It's a spiritual issue that's coming up in a physical way. So in this way, we can really, really, really come back and repair our lives and do something positive for ourselves and do something that is going to change us here in Elul, that we can start building good habits now. And in this way, we can continue to move and do better ourselves so that we can hit the ground running for 5786. We're getting deep in it, 5786. And have a new kind of life, free of this desire that leads us to wayward sons over and over and over again. And it would be that every single person should be inspired to make this decision and to go and do it fearless moral searching of themselves, to get down to the character defects that is really at fault here, really get down to maybe a chemical imbalance, character defects, the anger, the impatience, all these other things are going on. And this way we can get to the core and really fix. We should be zocheh to be able to fix ourselves. And by fixing ourselves, I mean turn over to higher power and do the actions that we need to do. And in this way, we will see all of us combining to better ourselves, raising the entire chain, which is Am Yisrael, high, and bring the entire world with us with the Moshiach, Tzidkeinu, third base Hamikdash L'chaim. And as I said, really grateful to be here. It's been a long time since I've been here. And as I said, it was getting a little bit overwhelming, even as I was here in Eretz Yisrael, to keep up with my desire to have 7 Aliyahs a day. And this was the Yetzer Hara, right? The Yetzer Hara, when a person's, the Yetzer Hara wants to block a person from doing good. And when he sees that the person's super serious about doing good, then he pulls the person. Instead of stopping him and blocking him, he'll pull the person so hard that the person falls on his face. And we see this a lot of times with Baal Shuvas, that they want to take on a lot of things. and they take on too much of themselves. And I took on too much over here trying to keep up. And then you feel bad, and then you're trying to make it up instead of just worrying about today and getting out what I can today and what I can this week. Trying to make a past week, all these kind of things. And then here I am in my studio, my office here. And been here back for a few weeks here. Been meaning to do one of these for a while. But for the last 4 months, before then, we got stuck in America. We were supposed to be gone for 1 week, not 1 week, for 4 weeks. 1 weeks, a week in LA, a week in Vegas, a week in Chicago, a week in Jersey. And right before we're about to come back at the beginning of May, there was a Houthi attack, ballistic missile attack close to Ben Gurion Airport. We fly United, and they were like, nope, no flights right now. Okay, maybe next week. We booked the one next week. Nope. Maybe next week. Booked the next week. Nope. Booked the next. And this continued on until then. The war in Iran started. Yeah, and then went to LA. We're like, all right, we're here for a while. And then finally we're waiting for it to come back. And after that, it had been 4 months. And then no place to record there. But if I would have known that I was going to be there 4 months, would have made a better plans. But I kept wanting to come back. So all we can do is be grateful for Hashem. Grateful to Hashem. And really realize that wherever we are, there you are. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. And what does Hashem want from me here? While I was there, able to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do anywhere else. Really grateful for that time, extra time in the end, and be able to come back with a new perspective, new outlook, as opposed to just getting in and jumping in. Maybe I would have just continued spinning my wheels here with this version of the podcast I was doing, or things in business, or you come and you go away and you come back. And I'll share some more in terms of the spiritual connection between the time that I was gone. I just talked about the physical kind of manifestations, but I'll talk a little bit more about the physical stuff underneath everything and what it took to actually get back, not just waiting for United to come back. Anyways, l'chaim, everybody. Really grateful to be on this journey with you, and all the best.